We're back here. We're always. So we've been driving around Utah for about a week now, and today we left Hanksville and headed east over to Moab to spend some time in Canyonlands, because I really wanted to see the big landscapes here. And after an afternoon here, I've just come to the conclusion that landscape photography in Utah is just basically on a cheat code. I mean, look at this. Just driving along the road, everything here is so amazing. There is nothing, there is no photograph, there is no video that can communicate just the incredible scale of this place, the size of these mesas here, the cliffs, the color, it just goes on. It's just a vast, epic landscape. And I don't know, just being in a place like this has been near the top of my bucket list for a long, long time. And being in a place like this, it's just incredibly inspiring. Right now, we're scouting for locations for sunset tonight and sunrise tomorrow morning. You can see that the sky is really heavy, lots of thick cloud. Don't know if the light's gonna break through. Probably sunrise tomorrow could be really good. Sunset tonight, not so much. But even so, this sky, even with this flat gray sky, this place is just so much grandeur. So hopefully I'm going to make an image that I'm happy with, but I do know that I'm really not going to be able to do this place justice. It's just so vast, so incredible, so just mind-bendingly stunning. But anyway. This is an amazing spot, and even though the clouds have come in really thick, so the light isn't what we hoped for, it's kind of hard to be disappointed when you're in a place as amazing as this. So this is Candlestick Rock, Candlestick Peak in the Canyonlands National Park. It really is astonishing up here. We're high up on the mesa with this view over the Colorado River and the snakes and the Utes as it weaves its way through the plain. I've seen in my life so many photographs from locations like this, and I've just been dying to get here. And when you come up here, it really doesn't disappoint. So we had a race to get up here. We're trying to find a composition, walk along the rocks. We're looking for quite specific things that would work in the foreground, that would lead us out to the candlestick, to that butte there. It looks a little bit flat. There's not really any depth if you've just got the camera on the edge with just the plain and the peaks. So the challenge has been trying to find some of these rocks which kind of work as leading lines or stepping stones into the image and give the image some depth. Now, if we had really golden light here, then the light itself would give depth, because of that contrast would really work to kind of separate the areas of light and shadow. But we don't have anything. It's really, really flat. So the foreground is doing all the heavy lifting here in terms of giving the image depth and that kind of three-dimensionality. It's actually a little bit past sunset now. It went down probably about 10 minutes ago, so now it's just going to get darker, and we've got to walk back to the car. It's about 1.5 miles or something. So I think we're gonna set off soon, but we will be back here for sunrise tomorrow morning, and the weather forecast looks good. So hopefully that'll be it. just before sunrise and we are back in Canyonlands, and it's looking quite promising. The road in here is pretty sketchy. In fact, it was very sketchy. Long road in the dark across some rocky steps. But Chris here drove it like a pro. So we're here to shoot this. And we've been walking up and down along the mesa trying to find some interesting foregrounds. There's been a wonderful dusting of snow in the night, so we've got these wonderful snow-covered rocks in front of us, and the color is just starting to go. Almost missed that light there. We had about 5 minutes of spectacular light when the sun moved into a gap just above the horizon and just illuminated the side of the towers in front of us. Really, really, really magical. A little bit of color in the sky. And when it's like that, even though I've been doing this years and years and years, you can't help but get excited. So just making sure you recheck composition, recheck the settings on the camera, shutter speed, aperture, ISO, using a 2-second timer or a remote timer to make sure there's no camera shake, bracketing every image just to make sure all of the dynamic range is captured, and just making sure that when we leave here, don't have any regrets when I'm looking at it on the computer later on, and make sure that I've got absolutely all of the data recorded. It was absolutely wonderful, but it didn't last long, and now the sun's kind of moved up behind this very, very thick cloud here now. We think that there's a chance of the cloud breaking up, and we might get some dappled light with different parts of the landscape lit up, so we're going to hang around. We haven't had breakfast yet, haven't had a coffee, but this is just such a magical place. It's really, really worth staying here. It's just wonderful here with this snow everywhere and this incredible view. Where we are now, we're actually not inside a national park or a state park, so we're permitted to fly drones here. I'm traveling with a couple of local people. We've been making sure that we follow all of the drone regulations. But to be honest, this place just works so much better with a regular camera. Just really nice foreground. This snow just makes the scene. So we're going to stick around here for a little bit longer, maybe an hour or so. Hopefully the sky's going to break up. You can see it's just breaking up a little bit above my head. And then we'll head down and have breakfast.
It was definitely worth hanging around because while the light was never as good again, we did get some breaks in the cloud which lit the side of the tower so I could get another image. But the location was so spectacular, and the snow on the landscape added an element which made it very different from shooting on the previous evening. The white tops of the mesas and the shadow in the valleys gave a lot more depth and more separation, so even in the late morning it was still possible to create some dramatic images. All in all, we were there for about 3 hours before we headed out, and the track, like I said, was really rough. Like a lot of the locations we'd visited in Utah, we really needed a high clearance 4x4 and a driver who knew what he was doing. But before heading back for breakfast, we swung by Dead Horse Point. Now, it was late morning by now, and the sun was quite high, which is pretty much the worst light you can have for photography. But the view from here is just so epic that I couldn't resist taking a few shots. And then that was it for Moab. We headed south to Monument Valley and into Arizona, and it really hits home how big this country is for a European like myself, that we can drive so far and still be in the same state. Anyway, not long before we got to Monument Valley, we got some incredible storm light with low sun beneath these really dark clouds that really picked out these rock formations at the side of the road. Now, we drove closer and I was blown away by these massive, colorful rock triangles. Now, I've seen images of this place before, but we hadn't actually planned to shoot it in our itinerary. We were just lucky to be passing by when amazing light was hitting it, and it really caught our attention. This is the kind of scene that you can't really capture with a regular camera. The angles are just all wrong, and it really needs an aerial perspective. The challenge here is that what's interesting is this large area, so there's not really a single focal point to build the image around. So you're trying to do wide angle abstracts. I spent a while trying to find ways to find compositions where the landscape naturally flowed through the frame, and I'm not really sure that I succeeded and managed it. But the fantastic light combined with the incredible landscape really does cover up a lot of compositional failings. And that's it for this video. I hope it's been interesting, and if you've got any questions or comments, just drop them down below and I'll get back to you. I've still got another video to come from the road trip through the Southwest, as well as another from the forests of the Pacific Northwest. So if you enjoy landscape photography from some pretty epic places, there's plenty more coming on the channel, so please subscribe and like. And if you enjoy my photography, if you'd like to join me on one of these trips, I run workshops all over the world, and we're just opening our 2025 tours. I'd love to have you along. We'll be in Namibia, Japan, Patagonia, Iceland, Greenland, coming back to Utah, as well as Madeira and the Amazon and Galapagos. You can find full information on all my tours on my website, so just drop me a line if you have any questions. Thanks so much for watching and for all the support of the channel. Take care and good luck with all your photography. I'll see you next time.